SOYA. PHAN is a refugee from Burma who now lives in London. She works for the human rights organisation Burma Campaign UK and wrote an autobiography called Little Daughter recently. SOYA, thank you for joining us on the show. You're the daughter of freedom fighters. You were 13 when the Burmese army torched your village. You fled to the UK, I know, back in 2005. You've been campaigning against the regime since then. Is the US, do you think, perhaps being a little too optimistic about the transformation in the country?
Well, it is a sign that the U.S. is taking the situation in Burma more seriously, which is good. And actually, I think it is welcome to see that. But on the other hand, if you look at the situation on the ground, unfortunately for the dictatorship in Burma, it is not about democratic reform. For them, it is about international legitimacy, and it is about lifting sanctions. So to get genuine reconciliations and democratic reform in Burma, I think what the U.S. government should demand for the regime is to release all political prisoners in Burma, for the regime to commit to a nationwide ceasefire and then stop attacking civilians in ethnic areas and then get leaders of the ethnic groups into negotiation table.
You are not welcome in Burma these days. I hope one day that you'll be able to go back. Meantime, you do have a lot of contact with people there. Just describe living conditions, if you will, for the average person.
Life is so desperate for ordinary people. Life is so difficult. We have contact with people in the central Burma area and also in different parts of Burma in ethnic areas. For political prisoners' life, it is so desperate where they face torture and they are denied medical treatment and they suffer severely because of the mistreatment of the prison authorities. At the same time, in the jungle, out of sight, the Burmese army continue their attack against against civilians. And since last year in November, the Burmese army has broken 3 ceasefire agreements with ethnic armed groups. Their army continue raping women, mortar bombing villagers, and forcing people to work for them and then forced relocations. The number of internally displaced people has increased and has doubled in the past year. And we are talking about serious human rights violations in Burma. It's about crimes against humanity and war crimes. And international community seems not to pay much attention to this. So the U.S. government needs to look beyond cities and then look into different parts of Burma and make the right decision for Burma.
You wrote in your memoir, Little Daughter, "My father and mother never had a peaceful life. It was one long sacrifice and struggle. They lived in fear. They showed us how to survive and be strong." What's your message to the world tonight, given your parents' story and your own?
I think what I would like to say is to get government around the world to be united for the people of Burma, to demand the dictatorship to end human rights violations in my country immediately, so that people like me and millions of people from Burma who have been forced to flee from their homeland, we can go back home and we can live in peace and we can start the development of our country.